Back again, Journal Journey writing prompt number 98. Before we jump in, please subscribe to the Entertainment Buffet channel. We have tons of content coming your way, including podcasts of the comedy variety from a wide variety of content creators. So please subscribe so you don't miss out. Let's go ahead and jump into the writing prompt, which is, if you had to make a pros and cons list about yourself, what would be the top 3 in each category? Woof. I'm never a fan of self-evaluations because it can be rough on you. And this one took me a lot of the weekend to think about. I wasn't thinking about it constantly, but it's something that just popped in my head here and there. So I guess let's start with the I didn't want to start with just the cons or just the pros, because some of these I actually believe are connected a little bit, and you'll see in a minute. So something that is, I believe, a pro about me is I'm very driven. I am someone who, I don't like to just talk about making something happen. I like to make it happen. I like to learn what I can do, what steps I need to take to make that happen. Have I done that in every aspect of my life? No. I've worked at jobs for too long because I just can, I guess, become complacent and stay and just, don't want to put through the work to maybe get a better job. But when it comes to bettering myself in creative ways, especially, very driven. And sometimes it's to a negative effect because I am just doing so many different things. It's not always the best quality, but it is a lot of quantity. I've talked about it on this show many times. I have worked on hundreds of YouTube videos over the years. I have done sketches, web shows, short films. I have written scripts, whether that's for some pilot ideas that I had, whether that's for some feature films or plays. I've written many things. I have written multiple issues of a comic book, and to this day only finished one issue, some of which was due to the art being created on it. And also, I've done stand-up comedy. I have produced plays and stand-up comedy shows. Also host a podcast, edit and produce a podcast. So I've done lots of things. Very driven. Once I see something, I want it to not just be an idea or something I maybe do. I want it to actually be something that can be seen in front of people, whether it's in written form, video form, live stage form, whatever it is. I want it to come to life. But what is a con of all of that, I've also talked about on here. I spread myself too thin and I overwork myself. And something that, comes to play with that, like I said, is one con is I overwork myself. I spread myself very thin. I, for too long, have focused of quantity over quality, which is actually something that if you've been watching the show up to this point, I'm going to say it again in future episodes, but here I am, 98 journal journeys, and I wanted to do all 300 because this is called 300 writing prompts. I was like, oh, I'll do 300 videos in 300 days. It'll push myself to do more. But 303, that's... Could I have done it? Yes. But I am also doing a lot of the other things that I listed. So why would I give myself just another thing that I'm going to have to worry about on a literal daily basis? So I've decided that with Journal Journey 100, I'm going to stop this series because even though sometimes I only record for a couple minutes, you'll see a video for only a couple minutes, it still takes me a few minutes to get this all set up, to read the prompt, to come up with what I'm going to say for the prompt, to then export the video, edit the video, post the video, maybe make a thumbnail, put in the description, all that stuff. It's usually, let's just say that takes up an hour. And if that's been taking up only, let's say 30 minutes for 100 days, just do the math. That's a lot of time. And I don't know why I did that to myself. Part of me is going to do that as an experiment. If you've been watching this series so far, what I'm going to do is look back what it was like to do 100 videos in 100 days. How did that affect my YouTube analytics? Did it earn me some money in the AdSense program? Did that generate views? Also, because almost all of these videos, by almost all, let's just say about 97 of 98 of them, I haven't really shared on any form of social media. It was just sent up to the channel, and if you found it, you found it. If you didn't, you didn't. So I'm going to try to improve myself and not overwork myself by taking things like this off of my plate and focusing more attention on the things that are on my plate. So I need to stop overworking myself and schedule myself better to work on the things that actually really matter and will be more fruitful and beneficial with my time. So that's one pro, very driven, hardworking, but also almost to a fault. That's one con. Next pro has kind of to do with the other one. I believe I'm very creative. I believe that's not only in the form of all the different things that I do, but I do like to think that my writing is creative. Do I think it's the most original? Absolutely not. Do I think it's the funniest? Absolutely not. But I think I do have some skills. I think I do have some things to say that I've acquired over the years, and that's due to writing a lot. Talking about the thing I did before, which is very driven, doing a lot of different things, writing a lot of sketches, going to a lot of open mics when it comes to stand-up. But relating back to the first con, I overworked myself. So a lot of the times, my things were never really the best they could be because I was doing too many things. And if I focused all my time on maybe one thing, like maybe if I only focused on stand-up or if I only focused on script writing, I would see things come through in a different way. So for example, most of from about August 2016 to August 2017, one of the main focuses in my life, which was not the only focus, I was still doing the podcast and YouTube videos and sketches and such and stand-up from here and there. So this is not a time where I only did that, but it was an example of I put most of my effort into how does it make you feel, and that was what a lot of people think is like my best work that I've done so far. I personally think it's possibly my best work when it comes to a writing standpoint and then pushing myself to put the right team together to produce that. I've talked about it on here multiple times just because currently 28 years into my life is one of the biggest experiences of my life. It was a full year journey from the idea of the play to being on stage for 10 performances in Chicago in front of sometimes up to 60 people per show, seeing it in the theater. And so I think I'm creative. I think I have ideas. I think I do have things that I can run with. I think I'm good at, I'm not someone that's great at necessarily improvising things on the spot always. I have to have a certain chemistry with people, but I do feel like I'm creative enough to get a sense of certain ideas or things and run with them, which like the creative and the driven, they kind of go hand in hand. But I do think that in order to do all these things, you need to be creative in some way, not just driven. And so I like to think that that's one of my pros as well, is the fact that I am able to do all these different things. Which feels weird to say. It feels very braggadocious and narcissistic to talk about, but it's just true. I mean, I did a web show in college where I had two roommates that we worked on it with. There was three of us. It was called 1403 Antics. You can also find it on YouTube if you really dig for it. It's not on Entertainment Buffet. It was on its own channel. But that's where, much like this goal, we did 60 videos in 60 days. Now, those were shot on a flip video. We'd usually do it all in one take. We'd do multiple takes, but it would be one take, no editing, boom, upload it, there it is. And some people could do that, but I honestly think we could have done more. So I think that sometimes I can take an idea and keep running with it, and I can be creative in that way. So I think that's a pro. Something that's a con with all of these creativity and things that I'm driving to do and goals to accomplish is my second con, which is I don't take great care of myself. And big forms that that takes form in is I don't always make time to work out / cook the best. Been trying to do better with that in quarantine, but can't always do that. Another big form is I don't sleep enough. Now, what that's morphed into over the last 10 years, it really started when I moved out of my parents' house into the dorm going to college in 2010. I'd stay up late a lot, wouldn't sleep a lot, and then over time, because there's so many other things I'd rather be working on, whether it was creative projects or driving to have things accomplished, I grew to resent sleep. I don't like sleep because I'd rather be doing something I like. Sure, sleep feels good when you're really tired. When you're in bed, you're very comfortable, then it feels good because the body needs it. But I don't enjoy sleep. I don't enjoy laying there doing nothing. I would rather be laying down and maybe watching something, consuming something that either is making me laugh or intriguing me or teaching me or is something that I can use to then improve myself in some way, whether it's creatively or personally. I'd rather, if I could have those extra hours, maybe work out more, maybe cook more, do so many things. So it's been 10 years I've had this habit, and I really need to do it because there are many days where I've had anywhere from 3 to 6 hours sleep on average, and then weekends I'll maybe get closer to 7 to 8. But I have never had a full week of 8-hour sleep, 8-hour nights of sleep since probably high school in 10 years. The idea of that is like, yeah, why did I dedicate so many hours to sleep? So it's a bad habit of mine. I need to take better care of myself because obviously if I don't, then I'll have less time for me to do things later. Pros, third pro of me is I do believe I'm inherently kind, which is something that I believe I learned from my parents. I try to see the good in someone until they prove me otherwise. Sometimes too much so until I get burned personally or in some way. But I try to see the good in someone until they're innocent till proven guilty. And I try to be supportive of others. I try to be helpful of others. I try to remember things about others. It's not always going to be perfect, and I'm not always the kindest, but I do think I'm just generally inherently kind. And I believe I'm someone that if you're going to be kind to me, especially, you'll always have someone that has your back. Until you screw me in some way, then you're just not. But yeah, I believe that is a pro of me, and like I said, can thank my parents for just inherently being, I think, a generally good person. Am I a great person? Maybe not to some. Definitely not perfect, but I think inherently good. And then the third con is I do believe I'm not so kind to myself. So see what I did here? Try to have 3 pros, 3 cons, but they're all kind of connected. Not so kind to myself, whether it's with my anxiety or, like I said, with my own health, but also, I just mentally beat myself up. My anxiety second guesses itself, and also I don't always put myself in situations that will prove kind to me later. I could expand on more on this, but here I am, almost 15 minutes into this video. But yeah, those are the 3 pros and 3 cons I believe are me. Lots of things I need to work on. even in my pros, some of those pros are cons. Some of those cons have some pros. There's no just this, just that. At least what I thought of right now. I'm sure I could sit here and really overthink it and not be kind to myself, but that's just what I'm going to say in the video for now, at this time in November of 2020, but could totally change tomorrow, next week, next month, anytime. But what are your 3 pros? What are your 3 cons? Comment below, let me know.